Kirk, whenever you're ready.
Welcome to Madison HD Sportsnet, presented by the JMU Alumni Association, as we go into season number 2 with Everett Withers as the head coach of the JMU Football Dukes. Welcome, Coach Withers. And we go back a year ago, and you're certainly instilling your culture, the new culture here at James Madison, without a season under your belt. But now that that season has passed, how much further advanced is the culture of JMU football as you go into year number 2?
Well, Kurt, I believe it's a long journey that you take when you try to establish a program the way you want it and the way you want things to be done in your program. And you always have that vision of what it looks like. Really, we've taken that next step. I mean, where we are is in year 2. That's what I can tell you. We're in year 2 of that journey, and we're not close to where we want to be. We're not nearly where we want to be, but we are taking steps in the right direction to get there.
As I talked to some of the players here on Media Day, we asked them when things started to click for them last year, and they were saying about the Albany game. So as you go into this new season, do they feel a lot more comfortable? Are you in a different rhythm going into this new year?
I think our kids have the kids that have been here. We've got about, I would say, around 60 to 65 kids that have consistently been in our program. We've got another 35 or so that are brand new. I mean, brand new to the culture. So for the 60 or 65 kids that have gone through last year, the off season, the spring, and now 2 weeks into camp, yes, I think they're a lot further ahead in the expectations of what we're looking for. And the culture, how we're trying to do things. I think that's important. So yeah, I think we are a little bit ahead of the game. I would expect us to understand weekly what we want to get done when we get into the season, those type things. Again, that's for that 60 or 65. For that 35, who knows? They're going to have to fit in real fast here. So, but we're excited about it.
All right, thank you very much for those opening comments, Coach. We do have members of the media from throughout the state, and we're going to turn it over to more particular questions here, gentlemen.
Let me say something first. We've got a scrimmage today, and it's open to the public. If fans want to come to the scrimmage, 3:00 out here in Bridgeforth Stadium, we're going to open the gates up, and if the football staff from Richmond wants to come by and watch us, they can come by and watch us. It'll be fun. Be fun for our fans to get out there and see us play and watch our kids. Our kids are I really like this football team. I like the kids. I'm not saying we're worth a crap, but I like the kids. I just do. We got a good group of kids, and they work hard, and it's fun to be around them every day.
Well, and the JMU fans will get a chance tonight from 6 to 8 to meet the Dukes as well as some of the other student athletes from the other JMU fall sports program.
Yep.
Gentlemen, who'd like to ask the first question here? John O'Connor. Here you go, John.
Everett, John O'Connor from
the
John.
Richmond
Paper. Can you assess Vadley's value both as a runner, a passer, and a leader, and just having that experience this year, what you hope he brings to the table for you?
Well, I'll always start with leadership. I think his leadership, really since day one that he's come in here, he's done the right things that most leaders do. They sit back and they evaluate and they watch and they see where corrections need to be made in himself and in what the situation he's in. He's done that. He did that from day one. He grew as a leader last year for us. I know he feels a lot more comfortable with his role as a leader. He's done a really good job of including a lot of other guys and helping other guys grow as leaders. And I think that's important too. So the leadership part, I've been really pleased. Obviously I think he's thumbs up on that. As a football player, obviously your quarterback is where you start. I don't care if it's Pop Warner football or the NFL. You have to start with your quarterback, and he's done all the right things as far as learning more and being more of a student in this offense and doing the things that we need him to do. You asked me as a runner, as a passer, he took leaps last year as a passer. I think he's taken even more since we went through spring practice and the first couple of weeks of camp. And as a runner, I always thought he was an exceptional runner.
Thank you. May I ask about the defense as
Sure.
well? You were in a lot of shootouts last year.
Mhm.
I imagine you'd probably try to avoid those this year. What do you
As long
want
as
to
we're on top, I don't care. As long as we got one more than the other team, I can sleep at
do?
night.
You want to buckle down a little bit and maybe shut down people more than you do?
Well, our objective is to first stop the run on defense. And what we want to do is be a little bit more gap control sound up front on defense. We still want to be very aggressive on defense, but we have to understand, I think what I've seen through camp, and again, I'm hoping this will carry over through our season, through at least the first 4 or 5 games so I can evaluate it, is that we have a much better understanding of where we fit up front in the front seven. And to me, that's truly important. I think Steve Cease has done an unbelievable job with not the what, but the why on defense. And to me, that's really important in every phase. In any business, it's important. It's not what you do, it's why you do it. And I think Steve's done a really good job of getting the rest of the defensive staff on the same page, and also our players. I think our players are a lot more comfortable in what they're doing.
Thank you.
Coach, look good, feel good, play good. I think I had 3 different players say that quote to me today. You guys just unveiled the new locker room, the new uniforms. Have you seen kind of a morale boost from the guys with all those things coming out?
Well, I don't know if it's a morale boost. I just, I think our objective here is to do things first class. And to me, you want to give them first class facilities. You want to give them a first class coaching staff. You want a first class athletic administration to be kind of encouraging and helping them develop. You want to be able to go out and produce a first class product on the field, and part of that is how you look. And how you present. You only get one first impression. And to me, it's important that our players understand that. We talk about meritocracy around here, and we talk about if you do things right, you'll get good stuff. And if you don't do them right, you won't. And our kids have, for the most part, have tried to do things right, and we've tried to reward them with locker room, with uniforms, with, all different type things. So I think our kids understand, do things right, the coaching staff, the university will try to take care of you.
Coach, you mentioned back during signing day, this incoming class would allow you possibly to move some players around into different positions. And we notice you've done that as of recent, even in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Has that class enabled you to do that, and can you address some of the moves you've made?
Well, we haven't made many. We made a handful. We moved Brandon Brown from tight end to defensive line because we felt like Brandon was a third-team tight end, and he was too valuable and too big and athletic a player to be the third-team tight end. And especially at this level of FCS football. So Brandon's going over there now, and he's competing in the defensive line. And he's done some really good stuff over there that's allowed us to create some depth in the defensive line. It really has. We moved Justin Wellens from safety to outside linebacker this spring. And, thinking that was an experiment for him. But Justin, it was probably the best fit for Justin anyway. So it allowed us to do some things there. Really, those are the really 2 major moves, and they really have nothing to do with the incoming class. I will tell you this is a very athletic class, this 2015 class. There are probably, I know, 3 corners in this class that will compete and fight for playing time this year, and maybe 2 safeties in this class. So we're really excited about them. You can make some moves when you know you got good players coming in to help you. Now, obviously, those guys have got to produce, and they haven't played in a college football game yet. So we're excited about them giving us a chance to grow depth and be more athletic. So that's where we are.
Can you talk about your offensive line? Because you've always said even as up-tempo as you are, you still want to be able to run the football
Yep.
first. Talk about the offensive line and what your expectations are for them coming out.
Well, one thing I wanted to do in the offense and defensive line was, our attempts are to get bigger, longer, and even more athletic up front. And we felt like we made some moves. We moved Aaron Stinney from defensive line to offensive line. He's a big athletic kid. He went from about 265 to 295. He's a good-looking kid. We were able to move Austin Lane to guard. Austin still can play tackle for us. Austin gives us that steady, consistent, big, inside physical guy that can help us there. We moved Dom Richards to center. And Dom's another one of those smart, physical guys up front. Matt Frank, who I think we had a misquote in one of our local deals. Matt Frank was an offensive lineman here. I moved him to defense just for depth last year, and then we moved him back to offensive line. So Matt's been an offensive lineman, so it's not new for Matt to go back and play offensive line. We just moved him there last year just because we needed another D tackle for depth over there. So Matt's back at home at guard. Matt might be one of the strongest guys on our football team. And then we got Mitchell Kirsch out on the outside. And really behind those guys, A.J. Bolden, Richard Yu, Casey Kroll, A.J. Gray, one of our freshmen, had a really good camp. Will provide some depth behind us. So we've got a number of guys and again, other freshmen. So we feel like we've gotten bigger, more athletic. Now our objective is how more, physical can we be up front, because we want to be able to run the football. And that's our key, to be able to run the football. We had a period the other day, a 4-minute period the other day, and 4 minutes is when you got the lead and there's less than 4 minutes left in the game, and you want to go kill. You want to take the air out of the ball. You want to end the game with the ball in your hand. And it was a real physical period for us. And I was not as pleased as I like in the offensive line. Because our defense had every guy at the line of scrimmage. I mean, there was 11 guys at the line of scrimmage. And I still expect them to be able to go get 3 yards of pop. And that's the mentality we're going to have on offense.
Going back to the defense, you guys are without some big crucial guys you got last year, so guys like D. Marlowe, Sage Hill, graduated, guys like Jimmy Moreland around here. Just how do you feel you filled those voids this offseason?
Well, I think we filled them well. We returned Raven Green, who was a starter last year, who was hurt for most of last year, and now he's back. And Ravens is talented a safety. I believe can be as talented a safety as in this conference. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to continue to grow in the scheme, but he's very talented, so we feel like we've done it. Marcel Johnson was a true freshman last year, played a lot of snaps for us, and he's talented. We've got two of the best-looking safeties. I mean, I said something earlier. We didn't have these good-looking safeties at Ohio State. These are two good-looking guys that can run and are physical. Now it's getting those guys to play together. So we feel like we've done what we need to do there. We moved Jordan Brown from safety to corner, and Jordan may be the fastest player on our team. And then you've got Taylor Reynolds at one corner. So our first group in the secondary is very, very talented, fast, and has size. So that was part of our objective, to get bigger back there. Then we signed, obviously, a group of freshmen that have come in and been very athletic and have picked up the scheme. Guys like Curtis Oliver has done a really good job. He will play for us in some capacity this year, whether it's nickel, whether it's corner. He'll do a good job over there. Charles Tutt has had a good camp. Charles Tutt, definitely help us in the kicking game. So we've replaced, when you go recruit, you're always trying to recruit the class. It's just a mentality. I'm always trying to recruit the guys that start for us. I'm trying to recruit them. I'm trying to recruit past them right now. The guys we signed this year, I'm going to try to out-recruit them in our 16 class. And if you don't, you fall behind. So it's the only way to go recruit. Try to recruit better than what you got. And we'll continue to do that every year.
Keeping with recruiting a little bit, Coach, you got a few guys competing for NFL jobs right now. Have you seen any sort of impact on the recruiting trail where guys are aware of that and guys are excited by the prospects of the NFL?
Well, we try to put it out there just so our recruits know it, that we've got guys that are competing and not only competing but playing. I mean, you got Arthur Moats, who's going to play an awful lot at Pittsburgh, who's a JMU alum, and then you got Dean, and you got Sage, and you got Daniel Brown at Baltimore. So you got some guys in camps. Obviously all we want to do is support those guys right now and hope they make their teams. Hope they do a good job making their teams. But whatever happens, yeah, we try to use it in recruiting. But we got to keep getting more guys, and the only way you do that is recruit really good players.
Coach, Wolf Golke, NBC 29 Charlottesville. Last year at this time, entering your first season, the expectations at CAA Media Day were you guys were to finish 8th. Obviously, you exceed those expectations. Coming into this year, you're picked to finish 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Do you take anything away from sort of that perception change, and what are your expectations for this team yourself?
Whoever picked it don't know what they're talking about. That's what I get out of it, And again, they probably don't this year either. So, to be honest with you, here's our expectations for JMU football: to be a more disciplined team, to be a tougher team, to be a relentless team, and to be a focused team. I have no idea how many wins or losses that is. I have no idea, and we'll tally all that up at the end. But that's what we're looking for. I told our team when I grade the film, the coaches have technique, fundamentals, production grades. I grade those things: discipline, focus, relentlessness, toughness. That's what I grade. And I check those off. I give them pluses and minuses for that. Each one of our players. That's what I do. So, again, like I said, we're year 2 in a journey. We're not even close to where we can be and want to be. Expectations, we only have our own expectations, not outside people. We don't. To be honest with you, I don't care what anybody thinks about us. I care about what those guys in that locker room think about themselves and where we're going and our expectations.
And then being from Charlottesville, I got to ask about Rashard Davis. I was talking with Vad and him.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they were roommates this summer.
Yeah.
Do you see that kind of chemistry impacting on the field? And what are sort of the expectations you have for Rashard?
Well, Rashad's obviously a guy that we expect some good things out of this year. He came on last year, played well for us, was injured a little bit, so we expect him to do some good things. But, we did that throughout our team. We had a bunch of roommates in camp. We never put same guys in same rooms. We put freshmen with seniors and, to get to know, each other. So they don't pick their roommates. I pick their roommates. So it had nothing to do with Vad and Rashad rooming together. It's about what I wanted the roommates to look like. So it's just part of camp. It's part of team building and growing and getting to know each other. We started a program this year called the Lean on Me program, and basically it was an upperclassman with a freshman. And each day I have one in the upperclassmen stand up with his big brother and say, "Tell me everything you know about him." And then vice versa, I have the little brother tell me everything they know about the big brother. And it's kind of neat to see these guys kind of bond and get to know, I'm talking about intimate stuff. It really is. It's really neat. And to me, it's one of the reasons I really like this team. This team has seemed to kind of do this, and it's been fun. I don't know how many wins that is. I really don't care, to be honest with you. I really don't. I just know it's a team, I think, headed in the right direction because of what the foundation is in the program.
Coach, I'd like to turn your attention to special teams for a moment and talk a little bit about the punt team, the punter, and your return game in the punt game this year.
Right. Gunnar Kane is our punter. He's had a really good camp. It's amazing. When he hits one, he hits it. When he doesn't, it's bad. But he's been a lot more consistent during camp. We feel like he's, improving each week. So he's done some really good things. We expect him to be a little bit more comfortable in the role that he's in. Behind him, Nick Delgado, a freshman, is done some good things. We had him in one of our camps and a year ago, and he's a guy that is going to give us some depth there as a punter. Ryan Maglio is had a really good camp kicking. Both kickoffs and PAT field goals. I don't know if he'll do both. We're still in that process right now, but field goals, he's had a really good camp. We just put Ryan on full scholarship here last week, I believe, right? We put him on full scholarship last week, so he's done some good stuff for us. Tyler Gray is another kid that's in, and he's got a strong leg, and he's vying for our kickoff duties. Got a really strong leg. We think he might be able to help us in that aspect this year. Our objective on kickoff is to not kick the ball in the end zone. Is to kick it, right around between the 5 and the 8 yard line on the bottom of the numbers on our right side. On our left side. So we can pin the team back there, and he's done a really good job of that. So we're excited about that. We've got a number of guys back there trying to return it. One guy I'm really excited about to see if he can do it. Charles Tutt. He's really, really talented, really natural at catching and returning punts. Rashad Davis is another guy. John Miller on kickoffs. And I'll tell you what, we got another guy that really excited about. His name is Dean Cheatham, catching kickoffs. He's very talented. Well, he's just very talented. Dean's very natural. He's very natural catching. He's very natural with his vision. We put him back there, just let him, do some things. And he's, you like to put a guy back there just natural that you don't have to teach your whole life. You got to teach a guy how to catch it and run with it. You got a problem. And Dean's very natural with it. So we're gonna look at it and see if he's a guy that can help us back there. The thing about Dean can do it. He does everything. So you can't spread him out too thin. So, but that might be an area that we use him occasionally.
Follow backup quarterback situation right now. What competition do you see there, please?
Well, Brian Shore's the 2, and Hunter Etheridge is the 3. And really, to be honest with you, Hunter's had a really good camp and really pushed Brian. But Brian's right now the 2 and had a good camp, had a really good camp. And, we're excited about, all our quarterbacks. We've got Jerry Reese in that's a transfer, and Jerry's, he won't be able to play this year, but he's done some good stuff. So we're excited about that position. We're definitely headed in the right direction for the future of JMU at that position.
Yeah, sorry about the thing with Matt Frank, but speaking of him, I saw he went on scholarship the other night, and as well as Klosterman. I guess did those guys kind of perform enough to get that scholarship, or what did they do to show you?
Well, our policy with scholarships is basically, there's no timetable on when a guy gets a scholarship. There's no amount of plays he has to play. It's really kind of feel and a fit and a role on a team. And both of those guys have been unbelievable teammates. We've got a saying in our building. It's you don't have to be a great player, but you got to be a great teammate. And those guys are they typify great teammates. And if you guys would have been in that meeting, we gave out Maglio, Klosterman, Franks, Justin Wellens, God almighty, some other, maybe 1 or 2 other guys we gave scholarships to. It was an emotional event, and it was kind of neat to see. Because all those guys have earned it, and they've earned it, but not just because they made a bunch of plays out there. It's because they're really good teammates. They work their butt off. They go to school. They try to do everything we ask in the program. So it's a combination of a bunch of things. And I told Justin this the other night when we awarded him. I saw him this summer. I was in Walmart this summer, and he was here on the 4th of July weekend. He had to work. So he stayed here 4th of July weekend. I saw him and his girlfriend standing in line, in a checkout line, and the light went on my head. I said, I got to get that guy a scholarship. I said, I got to give him a scholarship. I said, one, because he does everything we ask him to do. He was a leader of our special teams last year. I got to get that guy a scholarship. So, it's kind of neat to watch those guys make the jump, and then their teammates just go absolutely crazy and excited for them. So.
the interesting way to honor him, or was it a surprise for those guys, or how'd you?
It was a surprise. Yeah, it was a surprise. We had each of the position coaches get up and talk about them and bring them up, and we awarded them scholarship.
And then maybe your model citizen, like John was saying, Vad. You're saying he's a good leader. I guess in what ways? Any interesting, unique ways that Vad leads you guys?
In his actions every day. It's the way he handles his business every day. There's you know, to me, you don't have to be flashy to be a leader. You just have to do things consistently and be above the line. He's an above the line guy.
Did you expect him to be this type of? I mean, he seems like a big older brother to a lot of these guys. Did you expect him to be that when you brought him on?
Yes.
Is that an accurate description of kind of how Vad and a lot of these guys look at him?
I don't know if they look at him as an older brother. I think they look at him as a very close friend. I think they look at him as a very close friend that will do anything in the world for him. And to me, that's what I attribute that more to just the way he is. You know, he doesn't want to be any better than any of those guys. From the day he got here, he just wanted to fit in. He just wanted to be a part of this football team. And, he's continued that. He's continued. The relationship he has with those offensive linemen is unbelievable. I mean, it's kind of neat to watch those guys hang out. And he's a fit-in guy. He wants to fit in and then go lead by his example. And, he'll talk occasionally to the team, and, they listen.
Yeah, is that just kind of his personality that he can kind of mold himself and kind of find a spot in whoever he's talking to? Is that kind of a valuable role to have?
I don't think it's a mold. I think it's real. I think you said mold. Mold to me means you got to transform into something. I think it's him every day.
Coach Matt Cullen, a freshman tight end. He's a local kid. What's kind of the game plan for him this season in his freshman year?
Well, Matt obviously played quarterback down at Fisherville, and a really talented kid. He's learning daily. It's the difference between taking a snap and having a block of six technique. And he's getting his brains beat out every day at tight end, which is good for him. And he's handling it well. He's catching the ball better. He's learning the offense better. Our objective is just to kind of grow him in the offense, and hopefully this, he was here this summer, get through the season. One thing that our strength coach does an unbelievable job, Aaron Burkhart, he does an unbelievable. Our kids have strength gains during the season. And that, to me, is the mark of a really good strength coach, when you have kids have strength gains during the season. We expect that from Matt, and then go into the offseason, see him gain some weight and get some strength and be able to compete next spring for playing time.
Also doing something on Kyrie at linebacker, just him playing so much last year as a freshman. Is that going to pay off? Is that the idea that he's even better as a sophomore after seeing so much last year?
Kyrie was a really good player for us last year. We played Kyrie last year because he was probably the second best linebacker, if not the first. No, I would be honest with you. I'd tell you he was probably our best linebacker last year. Whether or not it was trying to get him ready for this year, no, we needed him to play last year, and he's accepted the role. He's a very cerebral kid. He knows the defense. He's kind of the quarterback of the defense right now, and he does a really good job of it. So yeah, we're excited about Kyrie playing for us.
He doesn't have the prototypical size. I know he kind of has to try to keep his weight on and stuff like
Sure.
that. I mean, is that a struggle for him? In what ways does he have to maybe counteract his lack of size?
He spends. I don't think it's a lack of size. I think it's for our defense. It's he's covered up a lot, so we use him not so much as a plugging linebacker. He's a guy that can run, and if you look at guys across the league, he's not far off. I think he's about 219, 20 pounds, so he's not far off from when I was at Ohio State, we had a guy named Ryan Shazier that was about 215 pounds, and he was a first-round draft choice with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, I think he's prototypical for what we want to get done.
Yeah, I mean, is his speed and his smarts that it makes him so good, I guess?
All those things. I think he's a good player, and he's very much a student of the game.
Yeah, Coach Cisa was saying he asks so many questions. Is that a good trait to have, somebody that's always wondering why and stuff like that?
Yeah, I ask our AD a lot of questions a lot, so I hope that's a good trait. I ask him why an awful lot. Why aren't we getting this? Why aren't we doing this? So yeah, I hope it's a good trait.
Coach, you talked about wanting to have some guys here over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
You hope to have maybe some of your younger guys getting here earlier.
Yeah.
Were you able to accomplish that this summer?
Yeah, I think we had somewhere in the 70s, 75, 80 kids here this summer. We had everyone but one of our signees here this summer. And most of our returning guys this summer. So the objective is to get them here, get them acclimated to being a college student and a college student athlete. They're with Aaron an awful lot, our strength coach. I call him the head coach in the summer, and he is in the summer. And he does a really neat job, and it's the best time. It's that third quarter that we talk about in our journey. It's the third quarter in the journey where the team, you kind of grow a team. You don't do it out here. I mean, you do some of it. You learn how to do the schematic stuff out here. You do the bonding stuff in the summer. And Aaron does a good job. So we need to try to get all our guys here in the summer. So that's kind of the objective. And we had a bunch of guys. It's been for 2 years in a row. And again, again, hats off to our administration for letting us do that, because to me that's important. One, it helps us when we talk about academic progress. We want those guys to start taking classes in the summer so they can start learning how to be a college student and understanding the rigors of, I got to go to class, I got to go to tutors, I got to go do these things. It's hard to do it, especially if you got a freshman that's got to play for you in the fall, and then now he's got to go to class every day, and now it's like scrambled eggs to him after a while.
You got into spring late because you had to replace some coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your new faces on your staff.
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned during spring ball was you're working on fundamentals, techniques.
Yep.
I kept hearing the term get the right angle, use the right foot, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Talk about, have you seen that equate to what you've seen in camp this far?
Well, Brett Elliott, Peter Davila, Jamal Powell, Sean Fisher are four guys that new to our staff, and all those guys come with what I believe is a teaching background, a background that knows how to develop and teach. And to me, that's really important. Anytime you hit a home run, and obviously we want to see where we are, but when you get young coaches that can teach and recruit, to me, that's a home run. I look for that all the time. I hope I was that as a young coach, a guy that liked to develop players. To me, that's important. The ability to take a guy from here and get him to here is important. I think all those guys that we hired are very capable and have done a good job from the time they've been here till now, growing players. It's important that we, anytime you're at the FCS level, you better have a Rolodex of coaches, because if you got good ones, you're going to lose them. Long as you're at FCS, you're going to lose them. And I believe we got good coaches. I wouldn't be shocked if we lost coaches this year from this staff, because I believe every day I sit in that staff meeting, I sit in a staff meeting with a bunch of really good men, mentors, and coaches.
And we're talking to the guys out there about this, but one thing you kind of coined this offseason is the edge. If you just want to speak on that, how that came about, and what that mindset is and how you're instilling it in the team.
Well, you're just trying to find that edge. What makes you better? What makes each player run that much faster, compete that much harder, strain that much more on this play? It's an edge for each guy, and it's kind of a thing throughout our program, trying to find the edge. We're trying to find what's going to make us better. It's just a mindset of trying to make. How are you going to make myself included, obviously, trying to make our program better? How are you getting the edge over in the classroom? How are you doing that? What are we doing over there to help us? And I'm constantly thinking. I'm gonna read you guys a quote real quick, and this sums it up right here. Okay, this is you old enough to know who Vince Lombardi is? Okay, Vince Lombardi was a great, probably the all-time best football coach to ever coach this game. Here's a quote: "Gentlemen, we will chase perfection and we will chase it relentlessly. knowing all the while we'll never reach it, but along the way we shall catch excellence. So here's what he's saying. That's trying to find that edge. What's that edge as you chase perfection? You're never going to get there. We're never going to be perfect. None of us. There's only one perfect, okay? So we're never going to get there. But all along the while, if we're chasing the edge and trying to be better, you know, we're going to get some good stuff happen to us. And to me, that's the mentality that I want our football team to have. I want our football team to go find that edge. What's that edge? It might be different for each guy. But it's you know, in recruiting, how do you find that edge? What's the edge that's going to help us beat not just the CAA conference, but the AAC in recruiting? How are we going to find that edge? How are we going to beat Conference USA in recruiting? How are we going to win those games? You know, how are we going to do that? So I challenge our coaches, I challenge myself, I challenge our players to find the edge. You know, find your personal edge that gets you to be the best you can be.
Coach, how much, if any, have you been able to, I guess, work in a game plan of what you might expect to see the first couple of weeks out of your opponents? Have you done that at all through camp?
We actually start that Sunday. Tomorrow. We actually start that, and the way we do it is we kind of work backwards. We'll work on Lehigh Sunday. We'll work on Lehigh for 2 days, and then we'll take do a scrimmage, and then we'll come back and we'll start working on Morehead State, and then the week before the first game we'll have a mock scrimmage against Morehead offense and defense and special teams. So we kind of work backwards. We want to try to prepare ourselves for not just one game during camp, but a couple games during camp. And just it really just preliminary. You know, you get a point in camp. We're at that point about 2 weeks into camp. They're tired of hitting each other and tired of running against the same plays. I mean, they really are. They know each other's checks now and that kind of stuff. They know when we're going to check to the speed option. They know all that stuff now. So it's time to start working to get somebody else's offense. And we're at that time in camp right now that we need to start that.
Coach, last year you talked about you didn't have your full offense in. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you have more of that now in place. How much of it is now in place? It's all that VAD can give you. Is it? Where are you with your development and what you want to see? You ran 99 plays one game last year.
Yeah.
Where are you with the development in your playbook at this point?
Well, I mean, I think we just continue to grow, and where we are is, I think we're right on schedule. We're in year 2 of putting in this offense. We put in a bunch last year, but we didn't put it all in. Because we weren't able to. We weren't able to do that. It's hard to do that in 1 year. It's really hard to do it in 2 years, to be honest with you. It's hard to put your entire package in, really both sides of the ball. That's why, you guys probably get tired of me talking about a journey. We're not even close to implementing everything that we want to do in our program, in our entire program. So we got a long way to go. So, yeah, we got more in, but we don't have it all in. Hopefully there'll be a few more wrinkles to what we do this year. There'll be a few more wrinkles, and it's really important to understand it's not about the X's and O's. It's about the players that you have, and you don't put stuff in if you don't have the players to do it. And so we're constantly giving them what they can handle and what they can digest, and just, again, pushing that envelope and trying to get them to find that edge to do a little bit more.
So how do you keep from going too fast and knowing how much to add?
Well,
just by the temperament of the kids?
We have installation that we talk about back in the spring about what we want to do doing camp. We finished spring. Let me go back. We even in the winter, we go back and we get ready through spring ball. We said, okay, they can handle this at the end of spring ball. We know that. How much can we go? The NCAA has done a really good job. We can during the summer now, we can meet for a couple of hours a week, so we can give them install in the summers. And you can't go practice, but you can actually meet and do installs in the summer. So we get a gauge about what they can handle. It's just, it's no different than what our professors do on campus. They're not going to teach stuff over there. I hope that kids can't grasp. If they're going too fast, then they're not doing their job.
Coach, I want to thank you for answering the questions of the media here today, and for a last statement, your chance to maybe speak to the JMU Nation that would be watching on this, and seeing those fans come here to Bridgeforth Stadium, one of the finest facilities in the FCS, and what the fan support does for this program.
Yeah, well, obviously this is one of the, I think one of the premier schools, obviously in the country, and I don't just talk about the athletic park. I talk about the entire university. Number 2 public school in the South. One of the schools I think growing up that I knew had a reputation for academic success. But when you start talking about the athletics and the football in the spotlight, I think this program has a lot of loyal fans to it. We need to continue to grow those. We need to get our student body more engaged in athletics in general. Football for me specifically, learning how to be a football fan. I think it's really important, and I think that's one of the things we've tried to do as a football program is try to teach our students how to be fans and try to get female. We've got a women's clinic on the 28th. We don't have nearly the number of females signed up for it. So we're trying to engage every part of our community in our region to understand. This is a great product on Saturday afternoons. It's a great product in this stadium. I heard our president say the other day, it's when we have home games, it brings the most people back to our campus than anything else we do. Okay, we need to continue to grow that. I use the term enhance it, make it better. How do we enhance that and make it better? That's something that, again, that's that edge that I'm always thinking about as a head coach. How do we get more people in the stands that support JMU?
Well, you talk about out-recruiting yourself, so you have to out-enhance yourself here at Bridgeforth Stadium as well. All right, Coach, thank you very much for our initial press conference of 2015. And for fans, of course, we'll be starting on August the 31st with our weekly Fan and Press luncheons at O'Neill's Grill here in Harrisonburg at noon, and that eventually will be posted up for on-demand viewing on Matazone HD Sportsnet as well. The Dukes open up here at home September the 5th, a 6 o'clock kickoff against the Eagles of Morehead State. Thank you for joining us, Coach. Yep. Thank you for the media here this afternoon, and we'll talk to you many more times here as this 2015 season commences.